I'm here in rural Michigan to drive the refreshed 2025 Ford Explorer. So I just gave you a tour of the exterior changes, and what I like to do next is give you a tour of the interior. The interior is really where the 2025 Explorer gets the most amount of improvements. So let's get right to it.
Motronics.
The biggest changes are here to the cockpit and the center stack, though there are a few small changes here to the door cards. This particular model is the Explorer ST, which means that it really is only limited to this colorway. So let's hop in and see what we've got. And what we've got is quite a bit. First and foremost, the entire dash, the entire cockpit, as I mentioned earlier, has been overhauled. It now features a new display. This is a new 13.2 inch display and the 12.3 inch digital instrument cluster, otherwise known as the digital gauge cluster, that carries over from the pre-refreshed model. But as a result of the integration of this new horizontally oriented 13.2 inch display, Ford also overhauled the dash. So as you can see now, the dash has a new shape with new air vents, both outboard here as well as at the center. There's an entirely new center stack as well. So let's go through this one by one. The materials is really where Ford focused a lot of their efforts on for this refresh. So let's take a look here. This is a nice soft material. In fact, the team that's behind the 2025 Explorer refresh tells me that every material that someone will touch in the daily use and operation of the Explorer, it is soft. So at the door here, this material, soft. This material here, also soft. This material, hard, and it's got a nice little carbon fiber-like texture to it. Looks very good, and it does not feel chintzy, which is great news. This is the pull handle, feels solid, and it looks good as well. This is the door lock and unlock controls, as well as the memory, the seat memory controls. This, from what I recall, was in a slightly different place prior to the refresh. There is this nice little trim piece here. This is new as well. So it has these nice vertically oriented lines that start off here, and then this piece gets smaller and the lines get sparser as you move towards the forward edge of the door card here. This speaker grill, I'm a big fan of it. Bang & Olufsen sound system here on the ST400A. Okay, this material here is soft, and as you can see, there's the nice red stitching here that is coordinated throughout the interior as well. The armrest on the door is soft and plush. So not only is the material itself soft, but man, is there a good amount of padding here, which is great news. More red stitching here. Here's the door pull handle. You can also use this to store a few things. These are the window controls here. Only the front windows are one touch up and down. The rear windows are one touch down, but they are not one touch up. Here are the mirror controls, and these are power folding mirrors. So I could, with the touch of a button, fold them and unfold them like so. And then that brings me to this panel. This panel here is hard. The rest of the panel here, below this line here, everything else is hard, which is not a problem. I don't really expect this part to be soft in a non-luxury vehicle. And I do believe all of this carries over from the pre-refreshed model, including the speaker grill here, including the storage cubbies here, one for a bottle, and some more area, some more storage area here. Okay, now inside. Let's take a look at the materials inside. Here we will see that there is also quite a bit of soft touch materials. Starting with this here material. This is soft. This is not leather wrapped, but it is still soft. From there, you have the 12.3 inch digital gauge cluster, and to the left and right of it, you do have this sound bar now. So this is branded with the Bang & Olufsen system here, but you do get this very nice texture here. This looks great. It feels great. If you're ever going to touch it, I don't know why you would, but if you do want to touch it, it's there for you, and it doesn't feel bad. There it is. It continues to the other side of the 12.3 inch digital gauge cluster here, and it runs behind the screen as well. and then it runs all the way through to the passenger side. From there, the AC vents. Let's take a look at these. So these have been redone and repositioned. Here they are. And as you can see, this design element here with the vertical lines that get sparser and sparser as you get towards the edge of this line, the same thing can be found here, which is a very nice touch. So you do have the lines starting here, and then they get sparser and sparser until you get none of them over here at the edge of this vent. This same thing takes place on the passenger side of the Explorer, but you can see that the pattern here is different. Also, at the center stack, so you do have the 13.2-inch screen. Right below it, you have the same pattern here. Starts off, runs this way, runs, and then the material itself here changes shapes. So you still have this vertically oriented pattern on top of this material as it runs into the AC vent, and then it's essentially the lines get sparser towards the outer edge of the AC vent. Same thing here. You have lines here towards the outer edge, no lines. Also note the Explorer name written out right here at the front of the dash. And you do have this material. This now carries over into this inlay, along with here, it runs here, all the way to the edge, right below the front passenger side AC vent. The center AC vents have been redesigned and really relocated to this spot here. And if you look at the actual tabs that you will touch, they also have these vertical lines. So you do have this pattern repeating itself. Are these lines present actually on the controls here? Yeah, yep, they certainly are, which is great news. Now, as you can see, the center stack does not have any tactile or any physical HVAC controls, meaning controls for the Explorer's climate system. Instead, you do get this row of soft climate control settings here at the bottom of the screen. There's no longer any physical controls. The only physical controls that you do get are in this control panel here. This includes the power button here for the system, along with the rotary dial here. Okay. You also have this 6 buttons. This one controls the engine auto stop start. This is the automatic parking assistant, the hazards, the camera system, traction control and stability control, and then this is the auto hold. And really, that's it. There are no more physical controls here on the center stack until you get to the center console, which we'll get to in a second. One thing that's interesting on these buttons is that when you actually press them, the entire row of buttons moves. So if I press this button here for the to disable engine auto stop start, check out what happens to the rest of the buttons. They will also move like that. So the entire row of buttons moves for whatever reason, but that's the way it was developed. Okay, then you have this tray. So this tray is divided into 2 sections via this little divider here. On the side closest to the driver, you do have the wireless or inductive phone charger, and over here you do have just a storage cubby, so I could take, for instance, my name tag here, put it here, put the keys here as well. This is lined via nice soft touch material with the red stitching. The red stitching, of course, carries across from the door, as we had seen earlier, and then it carries over into this part, and then it runs into this part of the vehicle, and it runs all the way through under the passenger side AC vent. And then below that, you have the center console. So there's a bin here with a lid. If you press this, it will open the lid. This is similar, if not the same, as it was on the pre-refresh models, but you do have this new pattern that is repeating from here and other parts. It is now carried over into here. So I press that, and here you do have this nice bin. I don't know if you can see it, but it is present and accounted for. Besides actual storage space here, you do have USB-A and a USB-C port, along with a 12-volt port right here. Close that one down. Further back into the actual center console, you have the rotary shifter, the electronic park brake control, and the drive mode selector here. To the right of this, vertically stacked cup holders, and then a little cubby here for storing items here. And that brings us to the actual center console lid. Now, let me quickly point your attention to a couple of details. First and foremost, the red stitching that takes place here. And it runs all the way through to this part, and then it picks up over here on the center console lid. If I open this up, you do have the center glove box here with 2 more USB-C ports right there. These are charge only ports, while the ports that connect to the infotainment system are in here. Okay, so that is the center console. That brings me to the overhead panel. Everything here carries over, including the rear view mirror, the overhead console here, the storage area for sunglasses, the HomeLink garage door opener, and the visors themselves. I believe this is all the same. Yes, it is. Here's the visor with the LED lighting. You have the paper holder here as well. So all that gets carried over. But as you can see, quite a massive change to the cockpit here. I also should point out this center speaker here that is present and accounted for at the forwardmost end of the dash. And then a few Easter eggs. So let me show you some Easter eggs. So if you look on the door jambs here ahead of the front doors, you'll see this. So this is the Detroit City line. This is really to celebrate the fact that Ford Motor Company is based in Dearborn, which is in Metro Detroit. So that you have here. On the other side of the 2025 Explorer, you have another Easter egg. And as you can tell, this one is different. So this is the Chicago City line to celebrate the fact that the Explorer is made in Chicago. Now, there is a couple of other Easter eggs here as well. First and foremost, on the outside, you do have this Explorer silhouette right there. That's really cool. And then if you look really closely at this piece here, you'll see that there is a whole family of Explorers, one for each generation, including the Jurassic Park Explorer, which is awesome. So there is the entire family of Explorers right here. Very, very cool Easter eggs on the refreshed 25 Explorer. You can see that the team really did spend some time thinking about how to make this a more attractive vehicle, not only from a material standpoint, but also from just a general design standpoint and kind of an Easter egg standpoint as well.
Motronics.